Okay, thanks for holding, guys. I know that this is going to be a part 2 on the YouTube channel, as well as other channels like BitChute and Cocoscope, things like that. And I'm sorry about that. It's too much to talk about, and time is just being. I just did not want this to be an hour-long video, and just to break it up in 2 halves. But we're going to continue on where we left off, and if you remember, we just found our enemy's health. We're looking for our health based off our enemies. So all this right now is enemies, and we've determined that it is a float 1. We checked the registers with the float pointing registers here, and we just tried to ascertain which one is still holding the current, or excuse me, the cap value. I know I said current in the other video, but I meant the cap value, and we see the ones continuing to hold, which is X3. So now what we need to do is find our health value, and here's how we can do that without scanning, because in most games these opcodes are shared. We know this is where it's writing, and how do I know that? Whatever's on the right hand side of the comma is affecting what is on the left hand side of the comma, and how it's being affected is by the command given. We see here that is a move, and what it basically means, it will replace whatever this value is with the value being held in this register. So let's go over to it, and you can see it's very similar to our memo that we have done. It's basically going through the same type instructions to subtract health and everything. So basically we could do the same thing to give infinite health. Let's change that MINSS to MOVSS, and our cap is being placed in there instead of using as a form of subtraction. Okay, so we can keep that in mind, but for right now let's just stick with our steps. Right now we need to find, let's go ahead and add this to our code list, that way in case the game crashes or we have to bring it back up, we don't have to keep re-looking for it, and we can have that. Alright, and so now it will be on our cheat engine. We just need to save it, and when we bring cheat engine back up later, we can go directly to the health opcode. So what we want to do now is we want to right click on it and find out what addresses this instruction accesses. And this will bring up all the addresses that's going through that particular opcode. And if you notice, nothing's going through it right now because it is only being accessed when damage is actually taken. So what we want to do is, first of all, go down here and find some more enemies, and we want to take a hit. So we'll just let him well on us. There we go. And here looks to be like our health. And remember, we found this by finding our enemy's health, where we didn't have to go and die several times or anything like that. So I'm going to place that back up to float 1. Make sure that's it. Let them well on me a few seconds. Make sure my health is not going to go down. And take a look. We found the address to our health. So that's good. So what we need to do is we need to compare out our health versus all our enemies' health. And that's what we're going to do. So I need to hit each one at least once. There we go. And we got 3 of them, which is fine. What I want to do is, I like using the find commonalities. This is the new feature that came in, I think 6.8.3, and we're going to mark ours as group 1, and anything that is not checked after that will automatically fall into group 2. Sometimes you have tons of addresses and you don't want that, you just need to go pick a few of them. But since this is only being accessed when damage is taken, we can just go ahead and go to it now, and it will automatically put the rest of those selections in group 2. So we're going to scan for commonalities, and I always save this information, and I do that by I just use a print screen. You can copy it, put it on Notepad, whatever you want to do. I don't know if there's a feature in here to save this information, but as you can see, I've already done this from a previous attempt, and I go back and compare these and see. Let me bring that back up. What remained the same, after initial shutdown. If you look at R9, 3015E0. Group 2 in R9 has maintained that value. So boom, right there we have a good register that is holding a value that has not changed after we brought the game down, brought it back up, done different things. Now, will it stay that way the whole game? I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not. So that's why we need to find other as well. But R9 is definitely one we can use. But the point of this vid is to show how we can use a multi-level pointer also. But I'm going to keep this in mind because I'll probably just go back to the R9 and use that for my compare. So let's keep that in mind. And what I like to do first is I like to use the base register. And the base register is holding the base address of the player and the enemies. And that would be RBX. So let's double click that and click that only find matching groups, and let's do a scan. Now here, what I do is I created a folder. I have it on a separate disk drive, but you can just create you a folder. I called it pointers because that's usually where I put pointers. And then I just create a new folder and I name it whatever the name of the game is, and then I start storing stuff in there. You can see I've done this already, but we're going to pretend like these ain't here for right now. And I'm just going to put health tut just so I know that this is for the tut that we're doing. And let's save it and let's bring up all the information. And this is interesting because I was getting a lot of multi-level pointers. I was not getting just regular offsets like this, which is very surprising. But here's some multi-level pointers right here. Now let's say that's all you're getting is things like this. It's going through different pointers. Now at each pointer is the address of the next base address of the next offset. The base address is at the 0 offset. So at this pointer is the base address of this 0 offset, and the 0 offset is pointing to this offset, which is also the base address of this 0 offset. And it gets a little confusing, I know, but it's really not that hard. And at this offset is the values we want to compare and things like that. Now, I don't know how stable these are, so I really don't. I was hoping to find one I'd already used that I tested. I don't know if it's in here. Oh, 100. That's what I want to look at. Let's take a look, see what we got going on with it. Because I know I used the 100 offset in my personal one, but nah, it's just showing different things. Let's try to do a rescan. I want to see if I can get one without matching groups, just to find one manual. Let's just do a whole new scan. Yeah, let's do a whole new scan. So let's press the scan button and we're going to label that as health tut 2. Save that and let's see what we get. Now here is where we get some multi-level pointers, and it's just showing everything without just only finding matching groups. But we still want to kind of look through these and see if we can find matching groups or something that we can use. And it's just when you're getting these all the time and not able to just find just one offset that it's going through, or it's just popping a lot of these up and they're hard to weed through, you can still use multi-level pointers. We prefer, it's preferable that you didn't, but I believe this is the one I use. And I usually use like 1s and 0s. Usually if enemies are all 0s, they will usually stay all 0, things like that. So this is, I think, is a good one that we can try, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this one where we got 1s and 0s, and we're going to use the enemy's 0s, that they will never ever be anything other than 0 as our compare. So we know that is going through 100, and the 100 offset is holding the base address of this particular offset structure. And at this offset 31C, it's holding our values that we want to compare. So we keep that in mind. So we just need to memorize our offsets that we're going through, 100 and 31C. So let's go over here and let's take off the debugger by stopping that. We don't need this anymore. And let's go ahead and start our compare. We're going to go to auto assemble template, and I'm going to do an AOB injection, and we're just going to call this health 1 for the first attempt. You can name it whatever you want. That's just how I do it. There is no right or wrong way, as long as you know what it's doing. And let's just go ahead and start our compare. We know right off the bat that our base address is pointing to 50. Let's bring it back up. Our base address is located in RBX, so we know that the register is going to be RBX. Where'd it go? There it is. The base register is RBX. All this is all the offsets and multi-level pointers RBX is pointing to. So remember, we're using RBX. So the first is 100 and the next is 31C. Well, the best way to do this is to borrow a register. And we're going to borrow one that's not currently being used by the game. And I'm just going to just pick a random one. I'm going to push whatever's being held in RDX right now. Let's push that onto the stack that we can restore to it later once we're finished. And I'm just going to use RDX. So the first thing I want to do is move into RDX. I want to move in the value of RBX plus 100. And we know that the value is actually the base address of the pointer. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, it is actually the address of the pointer itself, okay? And it will be the 0 offset of the 100. I'm sorry, of the 31C. So this is holding the address of the next pointer. So we're just going to move that address into RDX. And now that the value, which is the address, has been moved into RDX, now we can just use RDX plus the 31C, because we know that that RDX is now holding the base address of that next section. I know it gets confused, and I'm actually confusing myself trying to tell you this, but that's what a multi-level pointer is. Each one of these is the address of the next pointer base address. This is 31C. That is an offset. The base address is where it begins, and we've discussed base addresses in our Back to Basics series, and you can go back and take a look at it if you're confused about what base addresses are. But the base address is always at the 0 offset, then it goes up by 4 or 8 or whatever, 4, 8C, whatever. But on a multi-level pointer, until it gets to these values, each offset is holding the address of the 0 offset of the next one, of the next pointer. Okay? And if you had like multiple ones, like maybe 3 or 4, each one of the offsets is holding the next base address to the next section, and the next base address to the next section, and so on, until you get to the offset that's actually holding the values you're trying to get to. It's not that hard, but it's just confusing to tell. But hopefully that helps you understand that until you get to that offset, you're dealing with addresses. Okay? So basically we're putting the 0 offset address of this next structure, into RDX. Alright. So now what we want to do is we want to move into RDX plus 31C. Now remember, what's being held at 31C is the values, all these addresses that are holding the values of what we want to compare, where enemies are 0 and our hero is 1. Okay, so now what we need to do, so now we know that RDX is either holding a 0 or a 1, whether it would be our hero or our enemies after it runs this particular instruction. So now we can compare what's in RDX, and we can actually just use the lower form of it, DX, since it's just a byte value that we're really wanting. We're wanting the lower end of RDX. So it's either a 1 or a 0 right now. So we want to compare our DX we want to compare it to, let's compare it to our hero. We're going to compare it to 1. And you can do it as an integer 1 or just a hex 1. It's both the same thing. Hex 1 and byte 1 is, decimal 1 is still the same thing. Alright, so we want to compare to that. And right after the compare, we can go ahead and give RDX back to the system. We can go ahead and, okay, now go ahead and put what we put onto the stack back into RDX. It will still remember the results of this compare. So we can put our condition right after that. Let me move the code out of the way here. So now we can put our condition. So we want to compare it to our hero, which is going to have 1. As you can see right here, our hero has 1, enemies have 0. So if it has a 1, we want you to jump if not equal to code. Just that quick, or just that simple. And if you remember that XMM3 was holding our, do I still have it up? No, I think I closed it down. But if you remember that XMM3 was holding our float 1, but we don't have to do that. We can just write a float 1 to this address, which we'll just do it that way this time. So you can do it multiple ways. If you move the float value directly into there without using an XMM register, you need to take off the SS. So that would just be parentheses float 1. There we go. Just like that. So, meeting the condition, it'll move the address or whatever was in RDX back into there. We're done with that. It remembers the results of this compare, and it will do as follows. If it's our hero, will not meet this condition and will continue to go on down. I'm sorry, I should have left that alone. Hang on 1 second. We got to fix that. Move code out of the way. Oh, never mind. I just noticed I moved the label back up. My bad. Alright, now it's fixed. Okay, there we go. Now it's working fine. Okay, can't have 2 labels by the same name. So I accidentally copied the label, didn't mean to. Alright, so let's go back. It's going to move, or it's going to move whatever is in RDX and push it onto the stack. Now we're free to use RDX for whatever we wish. We want to move the pointer address into RDX. And now it's holding the base pointer address for the next offset, in which 31C holds the value of either 1 or 0, pertaining to our enemies. We only need that 1 or 0, so we don't need to utilize the full register, so we can just use the lower portion of DX. And we're going to compare that to our hero, which will be 1. We're going to move, we're going to pop the value back off the top of the stack back into RDX. We're done with RDX, and since the computer remembers what our compare result was, it's going to do accordingly. If it's 1, it's going to continue to run down and not jump. If it is 0, it will meet this condition, and it will jump enemies down here where it subtracts like normal. And that's the goal. So let's go give her a try and see. Alrighty. I'm going to turn off my infinite health. We're going to put on here infinite health test, because we're just testing it. And let's go back to the game. Now what we want to do is take some hits, and if you can see, our health is not going down, but can we kill enemies? And take a look. We are able to kill enemies. Their health is going down, and we're still at infinite health. So that's one way you can do it with the multi-level pointer. And there'll be other results that you can try. And remember, we got to play through this game, and we got to go through it and make sure that, you know, other weapons, like he's having a weapon here, it's possible that bullets will take, and it didn't here. But when we get in the main game and out of the tutorial stage, it's possible it could be calculating this information differently. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I had to cut it, and I'm just gonna redo this part. I apologize, but this is the problem you run into with multi-level pointers. They're very unstable, and they rarely work, and you really only want to use them as a last resort. So I'm going to start from scratch again, but I can tell you right now, even after the video, I'm going to go find a regular compare for this for this game. I'm not using multi-level pointers. I just want to show you how to. This is all, okay? So let's start again. And I'm sorry, I just want to find a stable one. I'm just going to start from scratch. And I ain't going to do anything different than what you just saw. And I'm putting both of those in here because I want you to see that no matter what level you're at in game hacking or anything like that, we all go through this same process of trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, over and over and over again. Some of these cheat tables that you see, it took them weeks to make. They didn't find all this stuff in 5 minutes. You know, I mean, it is a long, tedious process. So, and we have to trial and error until we find something that's stable, that works all the time, and it just takes a lot of time. It's impossible to put all that in a video. So as you can see, we got our health address, and I'm just going to get enemies again. I went and froze our health value to float 1, and we got our enemies right here. So let's just, I'm not doing anything different. Let's just do it all over again. We're in group 1, and the rest will automatically be placed into group 2. Click on RBP. Find only matching groups. And let's go back to my pointers. Right here, control. And as you can see, I've done a lot of them. So we're just going to continue on down the list. And let's see here. Did not give me what I needed. Let's try it one more time. So we're going to hit scan. Replace that one. There we go. That's what I was wanting. Alright, here we don't have any offsets that we got to worry about. We just have the RBX. So we're not going to use multi-level pointer because they're just not working in this game. We got 1s and 0s right here. We also have 500 and 1000. Let's use the 500 and 1000 just for kicks, which we know is at RBX 88. So we're just going to get rid of this crap. Alright, so we're going to compare RBX plus 88, and we don't need to use a register. We can compare that to 500. Jump if not equal to code. And that's it. We don't need to pop a register. Bring that back. Let's see what this does now. Take a look at our health now. But will our enemies go down? They do. So as you can see, I mean, multi-level pointers are a way you can go, but as you see with the trouble I've been having, you really want to use them as a last resort, and you will be searching through them a very long time to find a good stable one. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. You know, I was wanting to show you the multi-level pointer. They do work, but maybe we'll just do that on another game where I can show you where it is working. But this is just, you know, there's just not really a stable multi-level pointer that I'm able to find, and I'm tired of sinking all this time into it and everything. So hopefully we can do this again. And like I say, Greedfall is coming out, and I'm going to be giving away one free copy in 2 days from now to one of our partners. We're having a drawing, and you too can become a partner. Later on, we're going to be also having a drawing for the Cyberpunk 2077 that's coming out. One of our partners will win a free game to that also. And the way the drawing works is many times as they've donated a dollar. It only costs $1 a month, but if they donate more that month, their name goes in that many times for every dollar amount that they donated. And so they have multiple chances to win if they donated more. I feel like I want to reward my partners for contributing to Cheat the Game. They keep Cheat the Game running, and I just, it's my way of saying thank you. So we're going to be giving out more free games in the future, more gift cards, and it's only available for partners. Like I say, it's only $1 a month, and you can join us over at Patreon if you wish to find out more. but I really appreciate it. So let's go back in the game, and what I want to do is quit to main menu. We'll let that load back up. I'm going to keep my codes on, and we're going to retest it again. And if that's changed, then we have to find another one. But all of us go through this. This is nothing new under the sun. We all go through this. We all have to find these things, and it's just a process. Alright, let's see. And if that didn't stay the same, then all the addresses have changed. We see the enemies are still going down, just hopefully we don't go down. We're not freezing anymore. And take a look. We are not losing health at all. So as you can see, using multi-level pointers is a last resort type deal. But they do work if you can find a stable one, but you will be working a little while longer. So that's why I recommend always find a regular compare that you can use. These are no longer good. But hopefully that helped you, and I just wanted to show you some of the struggles we do have to go through in finding these things. It's the same for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a rookie beginner or if you are a pro advanced. And nobody can escape this process. You don't know until you just go in there and try and see what it does, and then you got to just go from there. If it's not working, go in there and find another one. So that's why I say find multiple areas and multiple offsets that you can try different ones, because they're not always going to be stable, and this still may not be stable throughout the rest of the game. I may have to go in there and try again and find something else. So keep that in mind. But you're on the right track. When it does start to work, it doesn't crash down on you, and that's what game hacking is all about. So make sure that you go through at least 65 to 80% of the game before you start giving out cheat tables or making trainers for other people to use. You want to make sure that all your scripts, especially the ones that use these compares, are stable to do so. Alright, again, I want to thank my partners right quick. These guys keep the game running, and we will be holding that drawing in 2 days for Greedfall. And you too can still enter into that drawing if you want. Go over to our Patreon page. The link is down there in the description. And if you get in before the 11th, you will go into the drawing as well. So all new partners will be eligible all the way up till the 11th. And probably later on, we're going to be having a drawing for the Cyberpunk 2077. Somebody will get a free legit copy of that one also. And we got other prizes that we're going to be giving away as well, as a thank you for being partners of CTG. We really do appreciate it. But I want to thank you guys for all coming out. Please give this a thumbs up if this helped you out. It really helps us out a lot as well. But I thank you so much for coming out here, watching the vids, and supporting us like you do. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so very much. Alright guys, I'm out of here. You all take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care.